Good morning. On behalf of the Department of Veterans Affairs, Northern California, Healthcare System, City of Rancho Cordova, and Alpha Graphics Rancho Cordova, I welcome all of you to the 10th Annual Veterans Day program. Give yourself a hand. Our theme this year is honoring the legacy and heritage of the 100th 442nd Regimental Combat Team. Nisei, veterans, and all veterans. I get a little emotional on this. I'd like to thank the Rancho Cordova River City Concert Band under the direction of Tom Seaton. I know he got a little frustrated there, and you know, they're sounding better every year too. I don't know whether they're practicing more or they had their Wheaties this morning, I'm not sure. All right, you all been sitting, now please stand and greet each other and say hello to first time you get to meet anybody you haven't seen in years. All right, that's enough. I think we better get moving or we'll be here till noon or better. And I should have had you all stand. Don't sit down. I blew it on that one. Anyway, post the colors, please.
Honor guard. Ready. Halt. Right. Turn. March. Ready. Halt. Set. Colors.
We'll now have the national anthem sung by Sharon Abe, Bradshaw Christian School. Sharon is the granddaughter of a Nisei veteran. Shannon?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Order. Colors. Post. Colors.
Color Guard is from the Cordova High School, U.S. Air Force Junior ROTC. Lieutenant Colonel Richard J. Keyes, U.S. Air Force retired. And Raymond E. Kirkland, Chief Master Sergeant, United States Air Force retired. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's give them a big hand. And please remain standing. We'll now have the Pledge of Allegiance by Kyle Swinford, U.S. Navy Sea Cadet, Sacramento Consul. Kyle, you're up.
Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Hey, you didn't shake my hand, you turkey. Thank you, Kyle. Isn't it great to have the young people here? You can sit down now. Oh, well, hold, no. I'm telling you, when you're late, I'm in trouble. Anyway, we'll now have the invocation by Michael A. Guerin, Captain, United States Air Force, retired. He's the staff chaplain for the VA Northern California healthcare system, and my apologies.
If you would join me in prayer. Gracious Creator, we thank you for this day in which we honor all our country's veterans. For those veterans of the past, we ask that they experience your healing and your presence. Comfort them for the wounds they have known and for those they still carry today, and for the losses they have endured. We ask for your healing and comforting presence to be given to their families and the loved ones who have suffered alongside their veteran and those who have endured living without their veteran who gave the ultimate sacrifice. May we never forget what our country asked of them and what they have given in return. We ask for your presence to be experienced by the veterans of those today, the soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, and guardsmen, and those of tomorrow who will be or are in harm's way. Keep them safe, guide them to justice and righteousness, even in the toughest of conditions. Bring them home to their families and loved ones. Comfort those families and loved ones. Teach us how we might help meet their needs. Let us be your compassionate presence as they experience anxiousness, anguish, and loneliness and pain that comes from known and unknowns of all wars. We pray, of course, for the return of all POWs and MIAs. We will never forget them, even for one day, until they are reunited with us. Strengthen us to build a world where war is pursued no more. And we give you thanks and your blessing on this day and the opportunity to celebrate and remember. In your most holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, gentlemen. And now, Tom, you may be seated. I could have had you stand a little longer, but I figured it's time. Tom, if you're ready, this is my country. Thank you. Now it's my honor and privilege to introduce the next two gentlemen. Mr. David Stockwel, Director of VA Northern California Healthcare System. David, you're up.
Well, good morning. It's great to see such a large number of folks here today. The 11th hour of the 11th day, the 11th month, almost 100 years ago now, when they laid down arms at the end of World War I. And we picked today as the day to honor all veterans in service of our country. So it's with great privilege, as the director of the medical center here for the VA, to see all of you out here today honoring those who have served, veterans who have defended our freedoms. I certainly want to express gratitude to the city of Rancho, Cordova, 10 years, the ongoing partnership and support for these events on both Memorial Day and Veterans Day each year. For the congressional representatives that are here joining us today, participating in the events, but most importantly, to the veterans that are here today as we honor you this day of the year. I especially want to give recognition to our guest speaker today, Kyo Sato, who's joined us. We're going to hear a whole bunch during the ceremony today about the Nisei veterans, those of the 100th Battalion, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. These Japanese-American soldiers, men and women, went off to fight for our country while their families were being incarcerated on the west coast of the United States of America. Over 100,000 Japanese Americans, 2/3 of them U.S. citizens, were incarcerated during World War II after Pearl Harbor, unsure the U.S. government of the loyalties of these citizens. And in the midst of all that, men and women volunteered and entered into the armed forces defending our country. So if you can just think about that in terms of your own life, your own context, your own freedoms, and what kind of commitment and loyalty and sacrifice that might be. That's the group of people that we're going to hear about today and especially honor as we give tribute to the Nisei veterans, to their families that may be here. I'd like just to take a moment in my opening remarks to ask each Japanese American soldier from World War II that's here present today to stand for a moment while we honor you. Thank you so much for your service to our country together. I certainly want to take a moment to recognize all veterans that are here as we celebrate Veterans Day. It's been a rough year in the VA, talking about, the public perception and all that has gone on. But to the staff here at VA Northern California, every day is Veterans Day. We come to work to serve those that have served our country. It's a privilege. It's an honor to be part of that team. I see so many of them here in the audience today coming out to honor veterans as well. To those of you that have served our country, today is all about you. Welcome to today's event. Thank you.
I don't know why I need my notes for this one. Anyway, the Honorable Robert J. McGarvey, the Mayor, City of Rancho Cordova. And before he gets up here, I'm going to say something. It's their 50th anniversary, sort of around Thanksgiving, and I thought we had to give them a big hand for being together. I don't know how you stood it, Terry, but it's all right. 50 years.
Well, the microphone's not dead. Everybody, I thought about doing one of these things, you know, if they weren't working, but no. Thank you, Bob. Yeah, my wife and I celebrating our 50th anniversary on Gold Friday. We decided it's not Black Friday, even though it's the day after Thanksgiving, it's Gold Friday. So that's what we're doing. May of 2006, the Veterans Memorial Plaza was dedicated. What you see now and what you see here, quite a few more bricks than there were then. That first day, Veterans Day of 2006, there were about 100 people here. We had a small tent, enough to cover them because it was kind of drizzly and it was kind of cold. And the microphone was over there right where you begin going into the Mather Clinic. Well, it's changed a little bit, as you can all see. It's been changed in a wonderful way. And I'm so glad that so many of you are able to come more than once. Those who haven't come before, welcome. To the veterans, thank you for everything you've done in the past and now. Something that we started 2 years ago, I really wanted to have this, is we have it videotaped. You can go on the city's website. You can look at the city's YouTube. You can see it there also, but you can see the speakers. You can hear the speakers. You can actually find out what was said, what was done, the music that was here. We missed one that I really missed. I'm really sorry we didn't videotape that. There was a gentleman who was a keynote speaker. He was a chaplain. He talked about something he had to do. He and his two other companions were going to a house to tell them that their son had died. The family was coming out and I told him that when they came to the door, well, you have to move. We're going to the airport to pick up our son. They didn't know. It just takes your breath away. So we're not going to miss those things anymore. We're having everything videotaped, and you can all see it. But it's something that's really important to all of us. A couple things around here before I'm done. I want to just let you know that our Veterans Village, we're building the apartments down there about a block away. It's going to be about 50 of them will be finished in May of this coming year, and the veterans will start moving in June. The two-story building, that's where the offices are going to be. That's where it's going to be run. And we're looking for some tax credits with VAST units for the housing also, and we get those, and we'll have the tax credits, and Mercy Housing can start working on it also. It's such a wonderful partnership with the VA, with the county, with the city of Rancho Cordova, with Mercy Housing. That's going to be just great to have that. And those of you who come here to the hospital and come to visit people, come to just pick up your prescriptions, just to see what's going on. As you go on down to Moyer, as you leave, turn left, then turn left again. Right now you go International Drive, you have to turn right. Well, the city's putting in a stoplight there. So you'll be able to go both ways. When you leave here, you can turn left, you turn right with the light. And you can also leave Kaiser. You'll be able to turn left when you leave in that facility also. So there's a lot going on in Rancho Cordova. There's a lot going on here. And for the veterans, my hat is off to you. We're looking for other themes. You know what the theme is today? The gentleman made a suggestion to me, maybe we'll use this in the future, the Merchant Marine. That's another organization that could be the theme sometime in the future. If anyone has any suggestions, please call me. Come and see me at my office there at City Hall. And you get 2 for 1 this morning. Usually we have the mayor speak and then I speak. Well, I'm the mayor and I'm speaking. So I won't be up here again. Thank you.
And now we'll have Thank You Soldiers, sung by Janice Schwartz, soloist with the Rancho Cordova's River City Concert Band. Tom, you're up.
Is this microphone working?
Hopefully.
Hey, that's wonderful. Thank you, sound guys. You rock. Patriotism and gratitude prevail in this moving tribute to the men and women of our armed forces. Composed by Michael and Angela Souders and arranged by Jerry Brubaker. Please welcome Janice Schwartz as she sings this song in honor and thanks for all who have served. Thank you, soldiers.
My little fan club. When I lay my head down every night and go to sleep in peace, I can stay there knowing all is well while you're standing on your feet, keeping watch, protecting shore to shore in the air and oceans too, defending freedom at all cost for the red, the white and blue. Thank you, oh thank you, men and women, brave and strong. To those who serve so gallantly, we sing this grateful song. To the soldiers who have traveled on to countries far and near, in peace and war you paid the price for the cause you hold so dear, that we may wake each morning bright and know that freedom reigns because of your great sacrifice. Your country joins to sing. Thank you, oh thank you, men and women, brave and strong. To those who serve so gallantly, we sing this grateful song. Oh, thank you, men and women, brave and strong. To those who serve so gallantly, we sing this grateful song.
Beautiful song, beautifully sung. Thank you, Janice. Now for our introductions, representing the Honorable Dr. Ami Bera, Daniel Washington, staff member, U.S. Congress, California 7th District. Is he, Daniel here? All you gotta do is stand up if you're new. That's good. Give him a hand. Marcia Shea, staff member, representing the Honorable Doris Matsui, U.S. Congress, California 6th District. There she, that's her area. Landon Wolf, staff member, representing the Honorable Jim Nelson, State of California, 4th District. The Honorable Dr. Richard Pan, State of California Senate, 6th District. Is he here? Oh, good. They told me you're going to be here at 10:30, but you made it. Assistant Secretary for, Karen Escobar, Deputy Secretary for Human Resources, California Department of Veterans Affairs. From the city of Rancho, Cordova, Mayor Robert J. McGarvey. You're going to get twice on this one, whether you like it or not. Vice Mayor David Sander. David. Council Member Linda Budge. Council Member Dan Skoglund. Did I get it right? Skoglund? 10 years I've got that last name wrong, and he's going to shoot me one of these. He'll probably take me off next year. Anyway, Zach Ford, Board Member, Folsom Cordova Unified School District. And I understand Rick Sloan, Cordova Recreation and Park District is here. Boy, if I get this one right, I ought to make it. Sin Abahar, is that right? City Manager? Oh boy, I blew that one. City of Rancho, Cordova. Is that close? Cyrus. I got it in my notes here, but I still... This one I'm going to get right. Lieutenant Kate Adams, Assistant Chief of Police for the Rancho City, Cordova's Police Department. Gary Strong, CEO, Capital Region, American Red Cross, and he just came on board about 4 months ago, and he's in charge. All right, Andrew Rosenau, Post Commander, Sacramento, Nice, VFW Post 8985. Where's he at? I got to meet you after. And whatever. Captain, U.S. Air Force, my good friend and our keynote speaker, Keo, stand up, please. I knew I'd get that one right. I did that on purpose. Okay. Will all veterans please rise, because I do this every time, and let's get up. I want to salute you. Thank you for your service to your country, and God bless. All right, you can sit down now. First of all, I know we have 3 or 4 of them here, but we'd like to recognize the members of the, and I know David copped me on this one. We didn't get to get it on our notes, but we'll, gentlemen we have here, the veterans from the 100 and the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. Please stand and be recognized. Again, please. Thank you, gentlemen. Korea. Any veterans here from Korea? Come on, there's got to be some. There they are. Give them a hand. Vietnam. Quite a few. How about Panama, Grenada, Somalia, and Bosnia? Anybody from that area? Lebanon? Nobody? This is the one I always liked. They had me change this. I used to have lady veterans, but guess what? Now I got to say women veterans. Please rise. Thank you very much. Now we get into World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. We got anybody that's been in all 3 besides me? I guess not. Okay, Desert Storm, Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and Iraq. I know we've got some out here. Very good. Afghanistan. There ought to be somebody here that's been over there. Do we have any POWs in the audience? I know every once in a while we do get one, and of course, like many, they are passing away also. So at this time, we'll have some more music, and it's the Armed Forces melody, The Pride of America. You're on, Tom.
Well, as Bob just mentioned, we now like to honor all those who have served with pride in the United States Armed Forces. So would you please stand or raise your hand if you are unable when you hear your song as the band performs Armed Forces, Pride of America. The United States Army. United States Marines. United States Navy.
Thank you, Tom. And now we'll have the ceremony placing of wreaths honoring our veterans. Entering from my right are John Myers, Vice President of Military Affairs, and Tal Norwood, Public Affairs Officer, Sacramento Consul, Navy League of the United States. Entering with them also are Harvey Holcomb, President, William Boxell, Commander, National Sojourners Incorporated, Sacramento Chapter 133, and Heroes of 76. Gentlemen, you're on.
Detail. Halt. Leo. Hey. Breathe in. Gary. Leo. Hey. Forward.
Thank you, gentlemen. Just give them a big hand. Now we'll have the recognition of the newly placed bricks by Dr. Don B. Erkenbrack, Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Army retired. That part I like. Associate Director, Sacramento Valley Division, VA Northern California Healthcare System.
Good morning. The Memorial Plaza began with a vision by local veterans who dreamed of a quiet place on this campus to reflect on the gift of the great men and women who have served in our military. In 2001, a group of local veterans, one of them, Mr. Joe Fricola, a World War II veteran, raised more than $400,000 in donations and dedicated more than 18,700 hours to making this dream come true. The theme of the plaza is coming home, as symbolized by the bronze statue of the medic returning home with his young daughter on his shoulders. The plaza was designed to hold 8,000 bricks, and since the dedication of the Memorial Plaza on May 25th of 2006, a total of 2,199 bricks have been placed to honor those who have served. During each Memorial Day and Veterans Day, celebrations, newly ordered bricks are placed until the plaza is full. I will now read the names of those who have recently been remembered, and a representative of the honoree will be escorted to the plaza to place a carnation on their brick in memory of their service. Kichi Abe. Rudolph Mayer. Ernest Perkins. Mick Madden. Robert Fink. Donna Sweigel Neely. John Neely. Scotty Moore. Wayne Thornton. Brian Singleton. John Crosby. Zachary Blanc. Timothy Blanc. Art Horn. Margaret Weber. Robert Ling. Scott Sparks. James Iwamoto. Norio Yamada. Ernest Ceccarelli. Cam Schoen. L.W. Alexander. Eugene Wetmore. Robert Boyd. Richard Carter. Bob Burns, Jr. R. Favor, Jr. Bill Holloman.
Thank you very much. Now our guest speaker, our first speaker will be Daniel Washington for the Honorable Dr. Ami Bera, U.S. Congress, 7th District. Daniel, where you, oh, you're coming up there.
It's a pleasure to be representing Congressman Ami Bera today at this terrific event. Thank you to everyone here at the VA for putting this on. It's really a privilege to be here. So today we pause and honor all those terrific men and women that risked their lives to protect us. And it's days like this that I remember my grandfather who served in the United States Navy. I can say for a fact that if it weren't for him instilling in me the values of service and discipline, that I wouldn't be standing in front of you. So on behalf of Congressman Bera, on behalf of California's 7th Congressional District, and on behalf of a grateful nation, we thank all the veterans for their service to this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcia Shea, Field Representative, representing the Honorable Doris Matsui, U.S. Congress, California, 6th District.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here today representing Congresswoman Matsui. I'm going to read a letter that she wrote for all of you today since she was unable to attend herself. Dear friends, it is my honor to acknowledge our nation's veterans this Veterans Day. Today we recognize the sacrifices our nation's veterans have made to defend the values and freedoms we cherish. Whether their service was at home or abroad, fighting in foreign lands, or helping civilians during major catastrophes, I want to thank each veteran for his or her service. Our nation owes a great debt of gratitude to all of you. Had it not been for the work of all of our veterans, our nation would not stand as tall as it does today. We also bow our heads in honor and remembrance of the soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen who gave their lives for our country. Let us continue to honor and reflect on the price they paid for our peace and freedom. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Karen Escobar, Assistant Deputy Secretary for Human Resources, California Department of Veterans Affairs.
Good morning. It's an honor and a privilege to be here today before our country's heroes, family members, and guests. As Mr. Burns says, I'm Karen Escobar. I'm the Deputy Secretary of Human Resources for the Department of Veterans Affairs. I've worked for the state for over 30 years. I've been in several different departments, but Veterans Affairs has been by far the most rewarding. We love to serve those who serve. I have a special place in my heart for veterans. My father served in World War II, and then he also went on to serve in Korea. I'd like to thank the city of the city of Rancho Cordova. I'm sorry, I'm from Folsom. With all due respect, I'd like to thank the city of Rancho Cordova and the VA Northern California healthcare systems and all the volunteers who worked so hard putting this effort on today. This is a truly honor. And at this time, I'm going to ask the mayor of Rancho Cordova to come up and join me on the stage so I can personally apologize to him. It was just a slip of the tongue. Okay. I'm honored to present to the city of Rancho Cordova, to our mayor, a proclamation from the governor's office for the state of California. So if I may, I'm going to read it to all of you and then present it to the mayor. Veterans Day began as Armistice Day, a holiday commemorating the end of World War I on November 11th, 1918. All too soon, it became clear that this had not been the war to end all wars, as some optimists claimed. After a second global conflict that dwarfed the first in its magnitude of destruction, countries around the world began changing their observance to encompass all conflicts and honor those who served. Our own Veterans Day was established as a national holiday by congressional resolution and presidential proclamation in 1954. Today, nearly 2 million veterans live in California. Among them are men and women who served in World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Gulf War, and our current wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as other smaller engagements and peacetime deployments. As we remember our brave Americans today, we should consider their valor and suffering in the service of our country and the challenges they face upon returning home. Some of our veterans suffer from high rates of disability, poverty, unemployment, and homelessness. We cannot glibly claim to honor our heroes while leaving them to suffer from social and economic ills. This Veterans Day, let us welcome all returning veterans with open arms, and as President Eisenhower wrote in his 1954 proclamation, let us reconsecrate ourselves to the task of promoting an enduring peace so that their efforts will not have been in vain. Now, therefore, I, Edmund G. Brown, Jr., Governor of the State of California, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2015 as Veterans Day. Thank you very much. And I just want to thank you all again for allowing me to be here, and especially all the veterans, thank you for your service.
Well, I was sort of happy when she said Folsom instead of Rancho Cordova, because I blew it too. But anyway, we're saving the best for last, and the Honorable Dr. Richard Pan, State of California, Senate 6th District. Sir, you're on, and again, my apologies.
Thank you. It's certainly a great honor and pleasure to be here with all of you today in celebrating Veterans Day and thanking all of our veterans and service members for your sacrifices and your service to our country. Growing up, actually, I spent part of my youth in the Hampton Roads area. That was during the Vietnam War. In fact, I remembered many of my classmates because we had several military bases in the area. Actually, they're usually their fathers, but their parents were off fighting the war, and certainly had an impact on me growing up. And then later on, as a physician, I had the opportunity to spend time as a medical student taking care of veterans at the VA hospital, actually at Pittsburgh. I went to medical school at the University of Pittsburgh. So it's particularly special to me that we're having this event here at the VA hospital right here. I know how important of a role the VA system plays in trying to honor and provide services to our veterans, and the important role that the people who work here play in honoring our country's commitment to those who have committed to our country. Since serving in the legislature, I had also had the privilege to serve as the vice chair for Veterans Affairs in the State Assembly, and we've worked hard to try to ensure that our state works to honor all of you who have served our country. I think sometimes we could do better, and certainly I've been an advocate for that in the State Assembly as well as now in the State Senate. But this is also a particularly special day because we are today honoring the NISE, the 144nd Regimental Combat Team. Now, every time our country is under threat or attack, there is a tendency to, certainly there's fear that happens. We saw this in World War II. We've seen this in subsequent wars, where sometimes people the public gets nervous and government takes actions that are unjust, such as the internment of Japanese Americans. Actually, not only they interned Japanese Americans during World War II, all the state workers were actually fired, anyone who was Japanese ancestry, and of course, Japanese Americans who served in the military had already sworn to defend this country were also released as well. And fortunately, there was some recognition with time that actually, as Americans, we stand together, no matter what our ethnicity or religion, that we come together to defend our country and our freedoms. And so the President reformed the 100th Battalion and the 42nd Regimental Combat Team. And so hopefully those lessons that from World War II, and we're here to honor them, to the NISE veterans, that we continue to carry that lesson forward. As we see that with each time our country has been facing threats, that we don't turn on each other, on our fellow Americans who may have come from a different place, from their ethnicity or a different religion, that we come together, and the fact that people step up, because we are all Americans together. And I think that's the most important lesson our veterans have taught us through time, because as service members, I know that people have come together to help defend their country and our freedoms. And that's something that we will continue to remember here on this 10th anniversary of this very important event right here in Rancho Cordova, here at this VA hospital, and that we're going to continue to remember that as we move forward. And then also, in addition, that as we thank our veterans and our service members for their service, that we don't just thank them and express our gratitude, but we follow through of our commitment, as we see here in this VA hospital and through other actions that we need to take as a society and as a community to be sure that those who have served us, that we continue to serve them. Thank you so very much.
Now you've got to listen to me for a few minutes. I'm going to go over some of the history, if I may. The first all-Japanese Nisei military unit was the 100th Battalion, which was a designation for the unit which was formed from the Japanese Americans who comprised a large part of the Hawaiian National Guard. These Nisei were sent to Camp McCoy, Wisconsin for combat training, and later were moved to Camp Shelby, Mississippi for additional training. They adopted the phrase, "Remember Pearl Harbor," as their motto. In 1943, the War Department reversed itself and sent recruiters to relocation camps asking for volunteers to form a new Japanese-American combat unit, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. Volunteers were accepted from Hawaii, where 12,500 men had volunteered. The Nisei volunteers were combined with the Japanese Americans still in the military and were sent to Camp Shelby, Mississippi for combat training. At Camp Shelby, they were formed into 3 battalions, plus support companies, the 522nd Artillery Battalion and the 232nd Combat Engineers. The 442nd chose the motto, "Go for broke," a Hawaiian slang term from the dice game craps. Go for broke meant to risk everything, give everything you have, all or nothing. While the 442nd was being formed and trained, the 1,432 men of the 100th Battalion had entered combat in Italy on September 26, 1943. The Italian campaign bloodied the 100th Battalion, and it suffered heavy casualties, earning it the nickname the Purple Heart Battalion. On June 2nd, 1944, the 442nd landed in Naples, and on June 15th, the 100th Battalion and the 442nd were merged into a single unit. Their bloodiest battle occurred during the rescue of the Lost Battalion, the 1st Battalion of the 36th Division had been given the assignment to clear a ridge deep in the Vosges Mountains, but had been cut off by the Germans. The 1st Battalion, 141st Infantry Regiment, have been cut off since October 24th, 1944. The 2 battalions of the 141st were unable to break through. I was a member of G Company, 141 of the 36th Division. We went up on line with about 150, and, uh-oh, I gotta stop. Here we go, flyover. I think they're coming back again. Whoop, are we on? Yeah. Well, if they come back again, I'll stop. As I was saying, I was in G Company, and it was amazing. All of a sudden, you look, and here comes these short Japanese gentlemen, and we didn't know what was going on. And they came through us, and they rescued the 1st Battalion. So I've always had a special place, because as I said, we had 150 men when we went up on line, and I believe there was 40 or 45 of us left in my company. And in my company, I was a private, so I can call it my company, I guess. And to continue on, more men were lost in the 100th, 442nd in the rescue than were saved in the 1st of the 141st. Enemy soldiers who were captured reported that orders from Hitler were to prevent any relief of the trapped battalion. 5 days and nights of continuous combat in dense wood, heavy fog, and freezing temperatures, and late in the afternoon of October 30th, scouts from the Lost Battalion spotted the men of the 100th, 442nd, and knew that they had broken through. In those 5 days, the 100th and the 442nd suffered more than 800 casualties. Company K had 17 riflemen left, and Company I had 8 riflemen left. Both companies were commanded by sergeants, since all the officers had been killed or wounded. The Japanese American unit suffered an unprecedented casualty rate of 314% and received over 18,000 individual decorations. 1 Medal of Honor, 52 Distinguished Crosses, 560 Silver Stars, 28 Oak Leaf Clusters, 4,000 Bronze Stars, and 1,200 Oak Leaf clusters, and 9,486 Purple Hearts. And they also earned the Presidential Unit Citation. On June 21st, 2000, 22 Japanese-American U.S. Army World War II veterans or their surviving family members for those deceased received the nation's highest decoration for valor, the Medal of Honor. Senator Daniel K. Newell received a battlefield commission, was wounded in the right arm, which required amputation, and the senator also received the Medal of Honor and the Congressional Gold Medal. And with that, I'll conclude the history, and they deserve a big hand. You're on. There they go again. One's going up. There we go. Now we'll have the home front musical memories of World War II.
With this being the 70th anniversary celebrating the end of World War II, with VE Day on March 8th, 1945, VJ Day on August 14th, 1945, and the Japanese treaty signed aboard the USS Missouri on September 2nd, 1945, we'd like to pay a special tribute to the music of that era, including It's Been a Long, Long Time, Thanks for the Memory, Bell-Bottom Trousers, The White Cliffs of Dover, I'll Be Seeing You, Don't Sit Under the Apple Tree, and Praise the Lord and Pass the Ammunition, arranged by none other than James Christensen. Here is the Homefront Musical Memories from World War II.
Thank you, Tom. Our keynote speaker is Keo Sato, Captain, U.S. Air Force, Sacramento, Nisei, VFW post number 8985. Going to give you a little background. We're running a little short, so I'm not going to cut it all out, but she enlisted as a nurse in the United States Air Force in April 1951. It is interesting to note that she had tried to enlist in the Army and the Navy, but was turned down. I have to get with you on that and find out why. She served in Texas, the Philippines, and Japan, left the Air Force as a captain. Keo's professional service, nursing school attendant, Poston Concentration Camp 2, Poston, Arizona, 1942. School nurse in Sacramento, Florida, Elk Grove, and Del Paso Heights, and with the Sacramento County Health Department. Education, California Board of Registered Nursing, Continuing Education, 1958 to the present. California State University, Sacramento, Certificate of Audiology. University of Oslo, Norway, Social and Political Studies. University of Barcelona, Spain, History and Art and Literature. Case Western Reserve University, Cleveland, Ohio, Graduate Studies in Public Health Nursing. Francis Payton School of Nursing, Case Western Reserve University, Cleveland, Ohio. She also received an honorary degree in 2010 from Sacramento City College. Keo started Blackbird Vision Screening System, copyrighted in 1973. She received the National Guard Award from the RN Foundation for Excellence in Nursing. Keo has been on NBC Today Show, Public Television, and Channel 3. She has published articles in American Journal of School Health, The School Nurse, Nursing Outlook, and RN Magazine. She's published Dandelion Through the Creek, and now Keo Sato's story, which received the Best First Book Gold Award. In her spare time, she has made many speaking engagements and continues to do so today. She has 8 siblings, teachers, engineers, nurses. 6 siblings served in the U.S. Army and the U.S. Air Force. 2 were awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor in 2011 and served with the 442nd Regimental Combat Team and Military Intelligence Service. She has 4 children by adoption and 5 grandchildren, and now it's my honor and privilege to introduce you and present you Captain Sato.
This doesn't mean I'm going to speak a long time. To the medley that we've heard just a while ago, I would add, "Don't Fence Me In." At that same time, you were all here, we were in the concentration camps. It certainly is indeed a pleasure and an honor to be asked to represent veterans today. And the only reason why I'm up here, because I'm old. We have here 2 who served with the 442nd, John Sakamoto and Shig Yokote. And I am almost their age, 92. As an Air Force nurse, I've had the privilege of caring for our soldiers in the Philippines and in Japan. My first assignment was at Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls, Texas, where I realized what war does to our young people. They had to survive through the tragedies of war, And those who did survive had to relearn to live all over again. I am a member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars Nisei Post. Nisei means second generation Japanese American. When my brother and others of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team in the Military Intelligence Service returned home, they were not allowed to join the VFW and the American Legion. Alva Fleming, a state officer with the Veterans of Foreign Wars, suggested a very bold move, a very courageous one, I would say. He suggested that we form our own posts. And this is why we had 14 Nisei posts in California. And when they returned heroes of the most highly decorated unit, as Bob Burns has just told you. And I want to tell you, now you've learned about the battlefield, but I want to tell you what made these men, what made them fight so hard. Going back, the American dream was within reach for my parents when I, the firstborn, started college driving a 1932 Studebaker to Sacramento Junior College. And I might add that we lived right across the tracks. Whoops. Oh well, right across the tracks from here on a 20-acre farm since 1930. On December 7, 1941, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, and then my whole world fell apart. Newspapers said, put them in concentration camps. Henry McLemore, a syndicated columnist, said, quote, throw them out in the desert and let them become like the skulls of cattle, unquote. Curfew was placed on us from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Driving was restricted to 5 miles from our homes. Contrabands had to be turned into the sheriff's office, which included our cameras, our radios, long knives, etc. General John L. DeWitt of the Western Defense Command recommended the removal of all those with 1/16 or more so-called Japanese blood to concentration camps, which would eliminate all Japanese blood cells from the West Coast. And this also included 60 children from orphanages. Japanese Americans were reclassified from citizen to non-alien. I became a non-alien. My brother Steve volunteered for the Army. It was the only time I saw my mother cry. She wanted him to complete high school, and but he did not do that. He was stationed at Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri, where his rifle was replaced with a mop and a bucket. And this was happening to so many of the Nisei soldiers who had already enlisted in the Army. And some were also discharged. Then the guillotine fell. Executive Order 9066 was signed by President Roosevelt on February 19th, 1942. There is nothing more devastating than to be stripped of your own citizenship and banished by your own president. There's no place to go. Huge posters appeared on our route here road, and you will see a sample of it over there with our display. It said, instructions to all those of Japanese ancestry, ordering us to leave in 10 days with only what we could carry. My job was to pack each one of my 7 younger brothers and sisters with what each child could carry. No pets were allowed. I think back and I am totally awed of how our parents coped with such quiet dignity. On the verge of losing everything they had worked so hard for, their priority was kodomo no tameni, which means for the sake of children. They did everything in their power to keep the children from harm. That meant all children. We left our 20-acre farm just across here. At the strawberry crops peak in May, and on our farm we had walnuts and also grapes. I became prisoner number 25217C. My father was 25217A, my mother B. And down the line to my baby brother David, who taught in Rancho, Cordova for 43 years. Even just on the side, just recently I ran into a young man who said, Mr. Sato's class was the only class I wanted to go to school for. On campus, after my release from Rancho Poston Concentration Camp 2, I volunteered for the Navy and was rejected and robbed because of my color. Nursing schools wrote, "We cannot accept anyone of your ancestry," unquote. Yale School of Nursing informed me that I had passed all their requirements, but, end quote, "we have this policy. I hope you will understand," unquote. It was a truly discouraging time. Young men volunteered from their concentration camps, of which there were 10 across the United States, holding 120,000 prisoners. Others were with the 100th Battalion. You've heard this from Bob. And there was now mass incarceration in Hawaii because of good and sane politicians in charge. The 442nd was ordered by General Dahlquist to rescue the lost unit at any cost. And you heard already how many men they lost and how they fought so hard. 800 men lost and 200 plus saved. How did this come about? By the way, Governor Connolly at that time designated all the members of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team as honorary citizens of Texas. Many of these Nisei soldiers grew up on farms during the Great Depression, where they worked long hours after school. All of us understood the word gaman. Gaman means to persevere, to not give up, to keep on going. And our role models were our parents. One by one, my Nisei friends dropped out of school to help at home. It became impossible to keep on going to school. My mother would say, "Mo skoshi gaman o shite," which means just stick with it a little bit longer. Stay in school. In just less than a month, I was to complete my first year. Their American dream was about to become a reality. Shikata ga nai is another phrase that we learned. It means don't fight it. Accept what cannot be changed. And wherever there is even a sliver of opportunity, give it your best shot. And that's, I think, what we all did. We gave it our best shot. When the President signed Executive Order 9066, there was nothing we could do. Students often tell us, "Why didn't you riot?" We were about to lose all that we owned, but our parents' priority was kodomo no tameni, for the children. They did everything to keep things from getting worse. Because of their wisdom, I am standing here 70 years later. I don't know if you are familiar with this, that the Nisei soldiers also liberated the prisoners of Dachau Then many of them returned home to their families still incarcerated in our American concentration camps. After 4 years of incarceration, it meant finding a job in a new city and starting all over again. Upon release, each incarceree was given $25 and a one-way ticket to wherever they chose to go. Takeo's family, who lived right over there in Happy Lane, lost their 20-acre farm on the west side of Mather. After returning from serving in the Pacific with the Military Intelligence Service, he went to Denver to look for a job and a place to live for his family, who was still incarcerated. We grew up with oyakoko. What does that mean? It means respecting our parents. For many years, our post had an Issei Appreciation Day to thank our parents. Almost 500 attended at its peak. We entertained them with dinner and sent them home loaded with gifts of their favorite things. We did this until our very last Issei died just a few years ago. That's how much we totally respected our parents. The 10440 was called the Purple Heart Battalion, and all this you already heard from Bob, and so I will not read it. The unit received a 7th Presidential Unit Citation from President Truman, and he said, "You've fought the war and won. You fought prejudice and you've won." My father said of his children, in quote, "I don't want anyone rich or famous," he said. "I only wish for 9 good citizens," unquote. 6 of us served. George and Steve were given the Congressional Gold Medal, which was awarded to, can you imagine, 6,000 Issei soldiers who were with the MIS, Military Intelligence, and also with the 442. This happened only a few years ago, and not many of us heard about it, but Southwest flew, so many of us, to a 3-day award ceremony in Washington, D.C. Thank you. Did you know that this Congressional Gold Medal was also awarded to the Navajo Code Talkers and also to the Tuskegee Airmen? And the first recipient was President George Washington. Our VFW post was established in 1947. In less than 6 decades, we are multiracial. No longer are we all, quote, free, brown, and short. Our commander, Andy Rosenau, is free, white, and tall. Such should be the spirit of America. Any of you are welcome to join us, any color. In 1990, I received a letter of apology from our president, as did a still surviving incarcerees, with a check for $20,000. I would rather have fought my own battles as a free citizen for 4 years. But where else would a nation apologize to its citizens for its mistake? Several years ago, those of us who were forced to quit school and were in prison were awarded honorary degrees. I was 89. After spending an estimated $25 billion, I can't even fathom what that is, and causing untold suffering, there was not a single case of sabotage brought to court. Our post members have been speaking to students for 30 years in hopes that our next generation will not repeat our mistakes. please take time to see our display up front and ask any of our members whatever questions are in your mind. We take this in our PowerPoint lecture to schools, and we have been doing this for 30 years, speaking to thousands of students. The PowerPoint title is this: Lessons from Our Lifetime, the Internment of the Americans of Japanese Descent in the United States Constitution. And you will see also books and photographs. On this Veterans Day, let us remember each one of our men and women who in their very prime made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation. Heroes do not act like heroes. This is another thing we learned from our parents. Enryo. Enryo means to be respectful of others. There are many heroes sitting here next to you. May each one of us continue to give our best for peace and understanding. Let's each one of us help our America to continue to be the beacon of hope to the world as it was for my father. Thank you.
Good speech. Wow. Now, at this time, I'd like to call up the committee. As you know, we meet once a month at City Hall, and sometime this month, we'll have our after-action report. I'm going to wear my armor-proof vest when I get in there. Anyway, Tom, take it away, if you will, please. It's a short one, he tells me. I'm sorry that we're running late, but it's one of those things.
An internationally known composer and arranger with over 600 published works, John Edmondson's work as a guest conductor and clinician has taken him to 28 states, 4 Canadian provinces, and Europe. He is recognized as an authority in the field of educational music for concert band. Based on Battle Hymn of the Republic, please enjoy John Edmondson's patriotic American Heritage March.
And now I'll call up the committee. Our leader is Mayor Robert J. McGarvey. Keep standing if you will. Stacy Delaney, Community Enhancement Analyst, City of Rancho Cordova. She got a new title, boy. Tara Ricks, Public Relations Officer for the VA Hospital. Maria Alms, Chief Volunteer Services, VA Hospital. Evelyn Richardson, Rancho Cordova Customer Service Rep. Kim Walker, Administrative Assistant, City of Rancho Cordova. Rick Swinford, Exalted Ruler, Rancho Cordova Elks Lodge, number 2484. Vernon Winthrop, VFW Post 10125. Captain Kyo Sato. And Kent Nakashima, Quartermaster, Eastside Post number 8985. And yours truly, Bob Burns, Rancho Cordova Elks Lodge, number 2484. Let's give yourself a hand. And moving right along, is Rob here? Our bagpiper, or did he go home? I don't blame you. You're on. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. Beautiful job. Benediction, Michael A. Garin, Captain U.S. Air Force, retired. Where's he at? There he comes.
Please join me in prayer. Lord, for this time and this celebration, we give you thanks. Let all who leave here today have safe travels and a time of rest and renewal. May each of us take something away from today to use in our daily lives in order to help others and share the blessings of freedom. We humbly pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Thank you, sir. Please retire to colors. Please rise.
Hot seat, hot. Ready, right? Forward, march.
Thank you, gentlemen. Cordova High School, Air Force Junior ROTC. Let's give them a big hand. They deserve it. Thank you, gentlemen. You may be seated. Now we'll have the presentation of the golf cart. Rick, where you at? There's no signage on the golf cart, but we got it yesterday about 11 o'clock, so there wasn't time to get it all. Rick, you gonna bring that thing over? We gotta get it over.
How's everybody doing today? I promise this will be short. Mr. Stockwel, would you join me, sir? The history of this presentation to the VA goes back nearly 100 years. In 1917, the world was at war. The Elks organization was only 49 years old. The United States did not have sufficient medical facilities to treat our wounded in the battlefield. President Woodrow Wilson asked the Elks if they could assist in the war effort. The Elks responded by building 2 makeshift battle hospital tents in war-torn France. This morning, we dedicated 2 bricks, one in memory of Dr. Richmond Favor and another in memory of his daughter, Margaret Weber. In 1918, Dr. Favor, Lieutenant Commander, United States Army physician, assigned to our Elks hospital tent in the battlefields of France. His stories of bravery and courage are many. Dr. Favor is buried at Arlington National Cemetery, just over the hill from the tomb of the unknown soldier. His dedication, love, and service to America's veterans was passed along to his daughter, Margaret Weber. Margaret's husband was a physician at Walter Reed Medical Hospital, Army Hospital. When Margaret passed away a couple of years ago, she wanted her family's love and commitment towards our nation's veterans to continue on. In her will, she left a generous financial donation to the Rancho Cordova Elks Lodge program called Catch the Spirit. Its sole purpose is to support American veterans. This story is a great example of nearly 100 years of paying it forward. Dorothy and Ken, will you please stand up? In the audience today is Dr. Favor's great-grandson, Ken, and granddaughter, Dorothy, and Margaret's daughter, Dorothy. Thank you. You can be seated. In standing with the Elks tradition, as long as there are veterans, the Elks will never forget them. The Elks have a gift for the VA hospital. At times, parking around this place can be tough, as most of you found out today. Several parking areas are up to a quarter-mile away. Getting our beloved veterans from the parking lot to the front door can be a challenge. 7 years ago, the Elks donated a red electric golf cart to help move patients. It's getting tired. With a very small portion of the funds donated by Margaret Weber, we purchased a new gas-powered golf cart to help with patient transportation. Mr. Stockwel, please accept this rather large golf cart key as a token of the Elks' continued support of our nation's veterans, and use this new golf cart as you see fit here at Mather.
Thank you, Rick. See where I'm at here. Okay, we're getting close. Janice, are you ready? We'll sing God Bless America as we do in closing our program. Janice will sing the first verse. If you want to stretch yourself again, you can all stand up and we'll go from there. Thank you very much. Now, if I may, I'll go through this rather quickly. I'd like to thank the following organizations: the VA, Northern California Healthcare System, City of Rancho, Cordova, for all they have done to make this ceremony possible. Alpha Graphics for their terrific programs and posters. I think when you look at them, they have done an outstanding job. Cordova High School, U.S. Air Force Junior, ROTC, Rob Roy, our bagpiper, Leonard Yates, Post 709 American Legion, National Sojourners Incorporated, Sacramento Chapter, Rancho Cordova Boy Scouts Troop 363 and Cub Scout Pack 28, Rancho Cordova Elks Lodge number 2484 and their Cats of Spirits Veterans Program, Jerry Aviso from Flowers Fiesta. She provided the flowers and the carnations that they had when they placed the bricks. A very special thanks to the Rancho Cordova River City Concert Band for the great music they have provided, and their soloist Janet Swartz and their narrator Larry Momack. Sacramento Consul Navy League of the United States, the United States Navy Sea Cadets, Sacramento Division, VFW Post 10125, the American Red Cross Capital Region, Sacramento Nisei, VFW Post 8985, Boys Teams Charity, Shannon Abe, Bradshaw Christian High School, and she did a great job. Vulture Row Formation and all the volunteers who assisted with logistics and setup. Jake for the BMG Productions, and the mayor talked about that earlier. John Nolan Parisa, Visual Information Officer, VA Northern California. If he told me I didn't announce him, he was going to cut me off in the pictures. That's all right. And thank you all for coming out today. God bless the United States of America. Have a safe journey home, and hopefully we'll see you next year. Thank you very much.